This time on Custom Works, we've got A40 MOT. We got at last some good news on the engine and a massive update on what's going on with the Meat Wagon. Let's get to the workshop and get that A40 out. Okay then, so the A40 back from its MOT. How did it do? I'm going to tell you now, it was absolutely not that bad. Basically, lights, I didn't know how to work the lights when I got there. Obviously I didn't wire this car, Lee wired the car, and there's so many toggle switches on the dash. I didn't know how to get the headlights on. At one point I was flicking all the switches and the MOT bloke was like, "Yeah, you got it!" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know which one it was." But anyway, we're getting them labelled, ready to go back into the MOT. So it sort of failed on that, that wasn't too bad. So another thing it failed on was no washers or wipers. And the problem here was I hadn't filled the washer bottle up with any water and hadn't bolted the wipers on. You know, it was a sunny day. Why would I be thinking of wipers? I just wouldn't, and I hadn't. So that's another thing it failed on. There was a brake line just going into like the nipple, going into the drum at the back, and that had been bent at some point, and that had a kink in it. So Lee's been working on that, getting that bit done.
So I put a new brake pipe on this car, and while trying it out and pressing the brake, you can see the whole back plate is moving. So I think we're going to have to pull the rear wheel off, have a look at the back plate on that, tighten it back up to the axle. There we go, handbrake on, no more back plate wobble. There's 4 bolts in there, and every single one of them was finger tight.
Also, another thing it failed on, the horn didn't work. Again, I didn't know where it was, the MOT man didn't know where it was, and it turns out that it's just on the end of the stalk where it always would have been. I have no idea what was going on. It was very early on Monday morning, and the MOT was, and I'm not responsible for any of my actions. So Lee, who wired it, was more than disappointed with me because he did all the wiring right, and then I just didn't even know what buttons to press at the MOT station. So my apologies to Lee and everyone else who are disappointed by not being able to just flick a switch. Moving on though. So then, another fail. The emissions. Oh dear. Even as, you know, when the MOT bloke's about to do the emissions and you're standing in the garage and it is just like the air is thick with the smell of petrol and it was running a bit rich. Wow, it failed on the emissions. It failed so badly. It was just like off the scale. So, we've got to sort that out. One problem, as I drove to the MOT station, this car is loud. Like really, really loud. It's almost like it's running straight through. So, I did think what I'm going to have to do is put in a couple more sort of mufflers just to bring that down a little bit. So because the emissions are so high, this car is actually 1994, something like that, so it should have catalytic converters. So off of a little hot hatch sort of thing, forget what they're actually off, but I managed to get 2 small catalytic converters. I'm going to fit them in. They will quieten it down and they will help on the emissions, and then that's another MOT fail done. So all in all, pretty good. We should easily get all the little bits done and then get the free retest within the 10 days, and then we will look at what is the future for this car. The A40, that's what it's called. Too many cars, too many cars. But yeah, we should easily get it done. Then we'll look at what the future of this car is going to be. Will it stay in the grey primer, or will we take this thing further? Okay then, so now let's have a look at the Slaughtermatic Meat Wagon. Meat Wagon, been a lot of filling this week, so it doesn't look like there's a lot to show, but my God, there's a lot to show. So what we've done, we've been working on getting these panels smooth, getting the flat bits smooth. All of this has had to be filled because of course there's always a little bit of wobbling stuff. And a lot of these shapes are already here, but we've cleaned those off, a lot of fiberglass strips, stuff like that. And now what we're doing is just trying to get these lines dialed in so everything looks cool and everything just sort of looks, you know, together. In contrast to what I've been doing on the other side, this side is getting a lot closer to the mark. We've got a lot of quite nicely smooth, few high spots and stuff just to block out, but this is all looking pretty good. The light now is really sort of flared in nicely, and as well the bumper's looking really good as well. And I did worry a little bit if bringing this up to here would look a bit odd, but I think it brings a nice continuity to the design, and it brings just a lovely like bottom line to the vehicle. As always, probably too much, I've used this this nasty chrome strip which I've put up, and then what I've done is I've got the super glue and gone in really tight, and there's always a gap where that like sticky stuff is, and you can get the super glue to drain down the back of it. So, and then activator on, that dries and it holds it on a lot more solid. What I'll also be doing here is this will create the edge for my bottom line. So I'll actually fill up to there, and the filler will go behind there, and again make it a lot more solid. You know, good enough that I can paint over that. Don't forget, it's going to be a patina rat rod. I'm bothered about it looking right, but it's not like I'm going to be spraying this car jet black or anything, and it's got to be absolutely perfect. It's always going to have that ratty look to it. It's always going to have that slightly worn look. So I'm not too bothered about these. And also, you've got to also remember, is that on Automatron, which won Best in Britain, there was loads of this stuff. Once it's painted over, it just looks like a moulding. But I've done that all the way up here, all the way along. I've also dropped in this curve just here, and then I think this sort of spear along the side can be in a different colour. Really like that in a 50s car when there's a, you know, something's picked out in a, you know, like in a sort of off-white, ivory white, beige sort of colour, just to set this bottom half off. I brought this round into the front, and this is something that does happen with this. I've pulled this round, but here, this goes too low, this bit's too high, and I just can't make the stuff make that shape. So what I'll do, I'll run around here with the angle grinder, I'll trim a bit off of there, and then I'll fill a bit onto there. Filler sticks to this stuff once you've sanded it really well, so, you know, nice and easy to do. And also, I've straightened this this top part up, where it comes in and up to the front sort of signboard. It's all looking pretty good, and it all looks a lot like I want it to look. Continental kit is looking a little bit better. I think I might have mentioned last time, who knows. But I stuck this centre out of a wheel hub on, and that's given a little bit more detail than that. We've got some really nice shape to this bottom bumper here, and the lights, and also it doesn't end just here anymore. It actually goes all the way up, and for that I just bent a piece of dye bond and then used some of the square gutter in and just pie cut it to get the curves in it, then glassed over everything so it is absolutely rock solid. And now I've just got to fill it, but I think from the back it looks pretty good. So for a better perspective on this car, when we have to take the A40 for its MOT, we had to move quite a lot of cars out. So there's only one way in and there's a lot of cars, and we have to have a bit of a move around. So this sat out in the street for a while. Of course, any shots of it sitting on the public highway, it's all CGI, which costs the channel a fortune. But even in that CGI rendered image that you'll see in a second, you can see all around it. And my God, when this thing, I always do this, I build things and think, nah, is that really wild enough? Is that really crazy enough? My God, when this thing sits with normal cars out on a normal road, as this piece of CGI footage will show, it is absolutely mind-blowing freak show of a car, which of course it was always going to be. I built it, but there again, you know, it was always going to be like that, and I think that's what it needs to be as well, because you walk in, you're deciding, where shall I buy a load of meaty burgers from? You think, I'm going to buy it from the weirdest truck. That's it. Oh yeah. Next week on the Meat Wagon, we're going to be looking at this whole section, which is going to open up, form a little canopy for someone to stand, and also the hole that the burgers have to be passed through. I think it's called a serving hatch, not just a hole, but you know, I'm finished with all the mumbo jumbo. I'm going to make this hole. This is going to lift up, so we're going to be in fiberglass. It's going to have a seal, it's going to have a rebate to it, and it's not going to let water in. Well, it might. No, it's not going to let water in, and it's going to be awesome. So that is coming up next week on the Meat Wagon. Update on the enzyme then. Now, first off, before we go any further, I've just got to say thank you so much to everyone who, in the messages, people who know me, contacted me on my personal phone, every single one of you. Thank you so much for all the input and all the advice on trying to get this fixed, because it really has. This thing's took me like to the edge of sanity. Good Lord. But sadly, all the things I've already tried. I've replaced everything. I've done everything. We even took the gearbox out this week to see if that made any difference, if it's somehow dragging the engine down. But now we've got the gearbox out, we're going to do both seals in it because it did leak. It always left a little patch in the street. So that'll all be good. I phoned up the place where I bought the Recon engine from, and they said if I take the car there, they will make it work, because I've done everything up to the point of taking the cylinder head off and checking all the valves. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a reconditioned engine, and it's more their job than mine to actually start messing about with anything in the engine. So that's really good, and they seem confident that they're going to make it run. So for all of what's wrong with it, for all the speculation, hearsay and conjecture that we've had, we will find out what was wrong with this engine. I, for one, I can't wait to find out what it was, because, like I say, we did everything. It's only a Ford Pinto, it's hardly complicated. But there you go. So hopefully this, in a couple of weeks, will be on the road and we'll be driving. Maybe not doing donuts, but we'll be driving. Right, so, Enzyme gearbox. Now this gearbox, to get the engine running, we actually took the bell housing off and put it on the back of the engine with the starter motor, which meant some bits inside the auto box sort of moved. And this afternoon, me and hot rod building legend Lee Cox have been arsing about with this so much to get it back together. If anyone ever wonders how does a gearbox work, an automatic gearbox, what goes on in there that gives you that smooth delivery of power? Well, I'll tell you now. Just behind here, once the torque converter's out and the bell housing's off, you pull a plate off in there and there's a wizard sitting on a cloud. He makes it all work. Who'd have thunk it? But anyway, we got it all to bits. We've changed the front seal. We're going to do the back seal. And I've made this little plate here because we know when we lift this up into the car, this torque converter is going to move everywhere, but that is going to hold it back and stop it just dropping out on the floor, as I have had happen in the past. So we've done one, we'll get the other one done tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get that gearbox in. Okay then, so both seals are in the gearbox, did the tail one, did the one in the bell housing as well, so we shouldn't be losing loads of fluid. Actually, we did that a day or so ago. I ought to look underneath it. Maybe we are losing fluid, but I'm thinking we're not. But anyway, now that's all done, we're going to take this back over to Birmingham, and the man that I bought the Recon engine off says he's going to put it all right. So that's great, and to him, I wish my sincerest good luck. Anyway, if you've liked this and all the other back catalogue of episodes, please click subscribe, press that bell icon, leave a comment down below, give a big thumbs up. Between now and next week, time will elapse. And until then, thank you very much and good night.